Hey, how's it going again? Eric with Adventures ASMR. Hope you're all doing well. So just want to do another update video. So today, walking at the Jersey Shore once again, December 18th. Beautiful weather out today. It is, I think it's like 47 degrees Fahrenheit. So I looked that up, about 8 degrees Celsius, something like that. So a little chilly, but Jersey in December, you gotta take advantage of days like this. So I figured do a beach walk, and yeah, look, I mean, ghost town. Nobody is here. I mean, in the summer, different story, but after Labor Day, that's kind of it. But park's still open, so you can come, walk around, hike, whatever. But yeah, so update. Basically gonna start posting, and I know it's a lot of it, not old news, but old news. But posting all the videos from the different beach trips. I know I said I was gonna have time for that and be doing that for a while, and man, I just have not had the time. I've been hustling my ass off since I got home, between helping out with the stuff with the family and just trying to hustle some funds together for the next adventure, that's for sure. Definitely miss it. Gonna do a whole video on that. Top things I miss about, being in the Philippines, and, essentially versus top things I miss about being back in the States. It's good and bad everywhere. So it's not just, hate it here, love it there, hate it there, love it here. I think you need a little bit of everything. So, but talked with Gene as well, and I think we're finally going to start doing these podcast topics. I know this channel is not too big and don't have too many people that would tune in live, but maybe. So if you're listening to this and that's something you're interested in, please definitely let me know in the comments. We got a park ranger coming by. That's got to be a sweet job out here, especially in the wintertime. I get it. In the summertime, this park gets so packed, they actually have to shut it down. You can't even, all the parking spots are taken, max capacity. If anyone is wondering, Sandy Hook, by the way, massive federal state park in New Jersey. So, but very big. I think it's I don't know how many miles long, between 5 to 7 miles long, something like that. I'll have to look it up. But essentially an island, and over there, New York City, so overlooking New York. But anyway, yeah, it's got to be fun. He comes out here, and it's fun driving in the sand. If you've never done any kind of off-roading, all sorts of off-roading, whether you're into mudding, being on rocks, going through sand, but sand's a good time until you get stuck. But anyway, if anyone's interested in topics, we're going to throw out a bunch of topics. I want to say one of the first ones we want to attack, want to hit, is retirement in the Philippines. So it's a huge topic. I'm sure a lot of people super interested in it. And if you haven't been watching the channel, some of you know I've been going to the Philippines for 10 years. Started this channel not quite 2 years ago, but almost 2 years ago. So almost 12 years. And living in the Philippines essentially last 20 months, something like that. So not quite 2 years living there, but close, So basically my experience from that is way different than, the reality is way different than what I expected, is basically what I'm trying to say. So even though I was vacationing there for a long time, a decade, you think you got it all figured out, and then you go there, living there, way different than I imagined it to be. We'll do a whole episode on that. But yeah, I guess one quick thing I'd like to hit, just talking about it. Gotta switch hands. hitting the gym. I did arms and shoulders today. So like holding the camera right now, I know it's light, but like my shoulders are still on fire from earlier, but excuses, right? Oh, well, yeah. So real quick, I'm going to get into it really deep when I do, some sort of podcast with Gene. That way we can bounce ideas off each other. Hopefully some people tune in live, add their 2 cents, add your opinion. Damn. For being in shape, I'm like pretty out of shape at the same time, but walking in sand, I mean, if you didn't notice, I've been walking for, 150, 200 yards already through the sand. So these beaches are massive here. See this park ranger sitting there. I wonder if he was just thinking I was going to go out here and do something weird. I don't really know what I'd be doing out here that's weird, but you know how they are. But you know what? Good on him for doing his job, though, because if I was doing something weird out here, I mean, he would have been out here canceling whatever it was going on. I don't know. Maybe people come out here and have bonfires on the beach or something. I don't think you're allowed to do that anymore. Whatever. But anyway, real quick, one thing I would definitely do differently. So if you don't know, I went there and essentially rented a apartment for, I want to say, a year and a half. And to make up for the extra months in the beginning, I lived out of hotels for a few months until I found the apartment that I want to live at. If I had to go back and do everything all over again, what I would do different is, and it's okay, you want to go there, you want to live there, you want to retire there. I'm going to do a whole episode on that, pros and cons. Some things you may or may not realize until you actually do it. So, and if this is something that you're strongly considering, like, and you're pretty much sitting on the fence, like and it's in your near future, reach out. We can have a conversation. No charge or anything like that. Just if you really wonder what it's like living there full time, and just want to see if that's right for you before you go do it. Hey, I'm available. Well, message me. I'll write you back eventually. I've been busy as of late, but no, I would love to help. But I would say if you went there, don't do what I did. I honestly, I wouldn't get an apartment, and I'll make this. I talk about things forever, but I'll talk long with Gene. In a nutshell, you're tied down to one location. Now, I had some hiccups at my apartment. Nothing big deal. I'll talk about that in a future video. But aside from maybe a few things that, a few issues here and there, everything did get resolved. No harm, no foul, so no big deal. But when you have an apartment, regardless of how cheap, unless money's no object for you, regardless of how cheap it is, this is obvious, you have to pay for the apartment every single month. I know people listening are like, well, no shit. But what I'm getting to is, if you don't pay for an apartment, you are freer to travel. So I got an apartment, I started getting stuff, and then before you know it, it's like you're living there, not like a local, but you're living there. You have stuff. You have an apartment filled with crap that you don't need. And, you're really tied down. Now, the apartment, not super expensive, but not free. But if I traveled, when I went to Palawan or, Boracay, the time that you spend at Palawan, Boracay, or any of the other islands, I'd rather have no headaches. I'd rather be like, whatever I'm spending now is what I'm spending. I don't have to worry about budget because, I have an apartment somewhere else, blah, 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 whatever. It's a lot easier. So if I had to do it again, it sounds great because you're like, oh, wow. I think the first thing people think in their mind, I'm going to be saving a lot of money if I get this apartment. So they look at the price of hotels, and then they look at the price of an apartment, and they're like, oh, man, I'm going to save a ton of money. Maybe a little bit, and it depends on what hotels you're staying at, but then again, it depends on what type of apartment you're going to rent. Sweet Jesus. I I know somebody's laughing, and that's okay. No big deal. You know, I'm almost at the pavement. It's going to be different. I'm just saying, you know, I sink in the sand. Not super heavy, but it's a good 200 pounds. And, yeah, I'm getting a workout. That's what I came out here for today. Get some sun, get a little exercise. I need it. But, essentially, if you did an apples to apples comparison for a cheap hotel or an inexpensive hotel, something that was decent. I'm not talking like living out of like a backpacker hostel, but no, a real hotel. Let's go up here. Actually, I'll take a look, show you what I was looking at. So decent hotel, and then a decent apartment with all the amenities, everything like that. You know, with the hotel price, the electric's included, and obviously most people can be running AC all the time, so that adds up. So between AC and then when you have an apartment, when something breaks, 9 times out of 10 you're the one that's responsible. You're the one that's renting it. You're using all the amenities. You're the one that's gonna have to pay for it. Here, let's flip this around. Oh God. yeah. Oh man, embarrassing. But no, I'm not. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not cutting it out. But yeah, I'm winded. But yeah, this place is sweet. I've been coming here since I was a little kid. I love this place. But look how dead it is. It is a ghost town right now. That's awesome though. Got the whole place to myself. All right, so anyway, back to what I was saying. When something breaks, you're responsible for it. If you're living there long enough, they do require you to do things like, you know, and maybe some places include. I'm just saying, like, it seems like you're responsible for the aircon maintenance. It's not a lot, but I'm saying, like, all these little things. And it's like little things that break or little things that go wrong. I mean, even if it's like replacing a light bulb. And, you know, most people would think, oh, it's very inconsequential. It's only a light bulb. But, you know, replacing all that. We had 2 aircon units, so getting those serviced, especially when they start leaking and dripping. When anything went wrong, it was basically 100% on myself and Gene. We had to pay for it, we had to fix it. So what I'm saying is, it's the same price, almost. Like maybe a little bit cheaper still. But yeah, I would honestly, I would move there, I would live light. You know, I would live out of like a, you know, suitcase, move around, go explore, travel. 7,000, you can't even see all the islands, 7,000 islands. And then there's so many other places like right in the backyard of the Philippines. Like there's so many other countries to go see over there. So, you know, why not save a little bit of money and have a budget to jump around everywhere? But yeah, like I said, not trying to make this one too long. And I'll explain more in a different video, and I want to sit there with Gene, that way I can bounce ideas off somebody and have an actual conversation instead of just talking to the camera by myself. But no, like I said, if I had to go do it again, I would, 100%. Don't regret any of it. But yeah, when you get an apartment, I had all these plans like, yeah, we're going to go here, we're going to go there, we're going to take videos here, we're going to see this island, we're going to see that island. And, you know, I did a little bit of it. Not as much as I wanted to, but always time for another adventure, right? So that'll come. You know, if you're older, or depending on your financial situation, or even if you're younger and not very mobile, I'm sure a lot of that varies, you know, obviously. So maybe you do want to go there and just kind of hunker down in one area, maybe get a spot in BGC, and you know, that works for you. Oh man, I can't remember which way I came from actually. This place is gigantic. Oh, and one last thing to touch on is a lot of people, I feel, have the idea that I'm going to go there and I'm either going to work or I'm going to open up a business, and that's what I'm going to do. And like, even if I make a little bit, it'll provide for myself. Now, some people do, and some people pull it off, but another conversation for one of the podcasts. If you asked me 2 to 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, I would have said, yeah, absolutely, that's a great idea. I was very eager. Very long story short, I started with the hot sauce and stopped. I talked to several different lawyers. I got a ton of paperwork done. Paperwork that, hey, basically, if you have this, everything's good. And I never fully got to launch everything. Everything was kind of like, got the test product out, everything like that. I kept waiting to put sales out there. And yeah, basically, there's always just one more piece of paperwork that I thought I had. And they're like, nope, you got to have this too. So it's a complicated system. I know someone who's sitting there might be like, oh, you're an idiot. All systems are complicated. You just got to know how to get through the paperwork. Fine, I'll give you that. be that as it may. But, at the end of the day, just one more note. And like I said, we'll dive into that deeper when we have the conversation with Gene and sit down and want other people to chime in on it. But there was one gentleman I sat with at, Cheers, when it was still Cheers. And I want to say he was maybe almost 65. He was getting ready to retire. So I'm not going to say his name. He actually wanted to remain private. But I talked to him. Every time I saw him, I said hello. He remembered me, stuff like that. Super friendly. But he said he worked there. He worked in the Philippines. He's married, and he worked at a company there long enough he's about to retire. So he's been there 25, 30 years. And he said the one thing that he regrets, he never ever got to experience the Philippines as a tourist. And you know what? I want to say that kind of, it struck a chord with me and it resonated. When he said that to me, I was just like, okay, whatever. But I see it, I get it. Now, I didn't work there for 25, 30 years, so what am I complaining? So I'm complaining about the little bit of paperwork that I couldn't even figure out and the stress that was tied together with all the paperwork and getting everything going. And then, listen, at the end of the day, when you try, and listen, all businesses are different, but at the end of the day in the Philippines, you're working for pesos. So unless you're financially well off enough to, I don't know, buy like several $1 million hotel resort, something like that. I don't know. Like I said, don't want to get too deep in the weeds on that now. I guess 10,000 foot view, just looking at that as a question now. 2 years ago, I would have said, yeah, go there, start a business. Sounds like a good idea. Now I see why people either don't make it, don't. And I have a bunch of stories that I'll tell of people who, people from the U.S., different countries, foreigners basically, went there, started businesses, and maybe it went good for a little while, but what I say, in the end, house always wins, right? So, and I'm not just saying that's just for foreigners. I mean, I'm sure that happens to people who live there too. And I feel like that's just kind of how the system is. It is. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be there making big money. And if it was that easy, you wouldn't have the rate of poverty that is in the Philippines. But yeah, it's sad, but it is what it is. Nothing that I could personally do about it. Let me think. I feel like there was something else. But yeah, basically, I guess point of this video, if you go there to enjoy. Don't go, oh, that's what I was thinking of. All right. So I think the misconception, and hey, let me know in the comments if you think this is accurate. It occurred to me, because I'm sure a lot of people fall victim to this. I think the misconception is due to the exchange rate. So essentially, $1 to anywhere from 50 to 58, 60 pesos, whatever it is. I feel that people think, okay, well, my money is worth it's worth a lot here. I could stretch my dollar very far. Therefore, it must be extremely easy for me to just scoop up a business at a low price, pay people low wages, and somehow in the equation, it equals make big money. And it's like you're forgetting that second part. The second part is like, even if you get through all that, at the end of the day, you're still getting paid in pesos. And I'm not laughing at the peso. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, it's different in different countries, and it's unfortunate that wages are as low as they are there. But you can't charge high prices because that's what everybody's making. So it's like, at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of if businesses are run properly, and by properly I mean like there's no funny business, like anybody putting money in their pockets that the government doesn't know about. But if things are run according to the books, I think it's very hard for most businesses to turn a lucrative profit there. Just from people I've talked to, things I've seen, and yeah, I guess little tidbits of advice I had to learn the hard way, I guess. And when I say the hard way, I mean the lightest of hard ways possible. I'm glad that I almost put the brakes on everything, just looking down that road and just seeing like what was ahead. I'm like, you know what? I was like, this is at this point more trouble than it's even worth. There was this is like 6 months, 8 months ago now. The Canadian who got jailed, I think he was like a empanada maker, empanada vendor. But yeah, essentially, either he had paperwork, didn't have paperwork, didn't have the right paperwork, whatever the situation was. And I didn't follow up on that. I should. I wonder if he, went to jail just for the afternoon, or, he's there indefinitely until he, pays some sort of like restitution fees, fines. No idea. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. I'll have to dig a little bit. I'll have to see. But anyway, way too cumbersome. Basically, if you go there or you go any country that is, I want to say remotely like that now. I still haven't been to Thailand or Vietnam or any of those places. But I think when you go to these countries, let them take care of their own country, take care of their own businesses, all that stuff. But I think a lot of foreigners get in the mindset, they get there and they're like, man, like compared to these people, I have so much money. Wouldn't it be great to XYZ if I bought this, and that? And I don't know. And like I said, I'm sure there are some people that really do pull it off and become extremely successful with whatever business venture that they embarked upon. But I think the reality is, for most people, it is not as easy and clear-cut as it sounds or seems. But more to talk on that when I sit down at the podcast with Gene. If anybody else thinks of any good topics, oh man, please let me know. Anybody thinks of any good cardio exercises to do to make me not so winded, also let me know. Sorry about that. Yeah, that is kind of funny and embarrassing at the same time. But hey, I'll leave it at that. I am going to, not run, but like power walk a little bit faster after this. But if I'm not talking, it'll be a lot easier. Get a little more exercise in. But hey, if you made it this far, thanks for listening. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. It greatly helps out the channel. And a lot of older adventures that are, 2-3 months old, not old, but a lot of those adventures, information based. So different restaurants, different hotels, stuff that even if it's a few months old, the information is still valuable because, if you're planning your trip 6 months to, who knows, 2 years from now, there's a good chance those places might still be there. So check them out if, it's something that you like. But, yeah, I think that's about it. So, well, remember, life is short, so get out there, keep exploring, chasing dreams. I'll catch you in the next one.